something my generation doesn't know at all. I won't say at all. People are getting to know about it. Is Indira Gandhi's kind of grey legacy. That's how I look at it. And it is a grey legacy, right?
Sure, there's always a mixed bag for every leader, really, if you ask me. But grey legacy, in what sense would you think that she was successful, highly successful in some cases, and then also was a dictatorial leader that way?
Yes, pretty much. I can't add much more to that other than, I mean, we've had some sick people on the show who look back at her in a very negative way. We've had people who look back at her fondly. A lot of older women look back at her fondly. So my outcome, my download is that it's a little grey. But I think someone like you...
It is. So I was a young reporter. I just started off when she was assassinated within a year and a half of my starting off as a journalist. 1984 riots is something that I didn't witness it, but of course I was reading it and I was hearing it from fellow reporters in Delhi, all that. So that was her bad legacy. I mean, there were a couple of mistakes that she made, big mistakes. One was the imposition of emergency against all her instincts. And I would think from the literature that is available and the people that I have spoken to, that she became isolated. She was completely cordoned off by her son, Sanjay Gandhi, and some of her inner circle people.
You'll have to give complete context here. Why don't you do like a quick story of Indira
Gandhi? She became Prime Minister under unfortunate circumstances when Lal Bahadur Shastri, as her second Prime Minister, died in Russia.
Mysteriously
in harness. And in January 1966, she became the Prime Minister. The Congress Party stalwarts, leaders in the Congress Party, they were, old style leaders with not mass-based but organizational control. They thought they will be able to control her. So she was actually at one point in time called Gungi Gudiya. You would have heard this if you've read the literature, that she was a dumb doll, to translate it in English. But she grew into a job thanks to some good advisors and all that. And her innate nature and experience she would have had with her father for so many years. 17 years, Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister. Her father was a widower. And I think he didn't think of what people would think. I mean, now those photographs are coming out. He lighting a cigarette of Lady Mountbatten or laughing with her. All those pictures have come out.
He got that swag.
He had. I mean, of course, he was handsome. He was a Kashmiri and fair from what is seen. But that is something that she had I won't say a very successful marriage, Indira Gandhi herself. But I think political grooming was excellent. And therefore, she grew into a job. And by 1969, she had come into her own and had become her own person in taking decisions. 1971 was her highest kind of achievement and glory days. 71 war. In fact, Atal Bihari Vajpayee praised her. Didn't call her Durga though, like many people have alluded. But what happened is increasingly the success meant that she increasingly became isolated surrounded by her younger son, Sanjay Gandhi, who was a political goon.
Please, you'll have to give context here also.
Because he was very aggressive and he wanted to control everything. So he used to control appointments with her. He started that Maruti project.
I know very little about Sanjay Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi.
No, so Rajiv Gandhi was a pilot in the Indian Airlines that time. So he wasn't much in the politics. But Sanjay Gandhi, again, it is before my time also, because as I said, I started journalism only in 1983. But I've read and there is interest in history. So Sanjay Gandhi, Bansilal and all these people, and what happened was the one judgment of the Allahabad High Court in electoral malpractices went against her. The High Court unseated her, saying that she can't be an MP because she's indulged in these electoral irregularities.
She tried hacking the voting system?
So that time there used to be booth capturing. We didn't have EVMs that time, the electronic voting machines. So there used to be these boxes where you would put the paper ballots, and booths were sort of there, large booths, where you could isolate that booth and get your own supporters or your own people to just put in paper ballots in your name and do that isolated way or without anybody knowing. Or even with somebody knowing, you just put in the paper. So that used to be called booth capturing. It was an art of the political parties. Whoever was the Bahubali would be able to do that. So we have come a long way from there. So anyway, she was unseated.
Wild West.
Wild West. Yeah, many ways.
What kind of India did you guys have, man?
See, but we have survived that and we have come to this stage. But to come back to Indira Gandhi, so Sanjay Gandhi took hold of her psychologically in a way. Then he was controlling her towards the end, sort of 80s. After the emergency, she became isolated. She got defeated in the elections in 1977. Then she came back because they were squabbling, the old people who had come in the Janata Party between 1977 and 1980. Then she came back to power. But by the time she had become completely dependent on Sanjay Gandhi, who was her younger son and politically the controlling master of the party,
Dependent
the
how?
Congress, in sense of taking decisions and posting bureaucrats, appointing chief ministers, all that he was doing. He was the power behind the throne.
And what was his skill set or whatever?
Nothing. The power was derived from the mother and the third generation of the Nehru Gandhis, like that.
Like younger, savvy.
brash, and
okay.
kind of thing. But he died in a air crash in 1982.
Mysteriously?
Not really. He was again reckless. So he was flying that small plane in Delhi's Safdarjung area, and what happened nobody knows. I mean, mysteriously, you can call it mysterious, but I mean, obviously, he was. It's like taking out a sports car and driving rashly, like the young rich kids do. Even today, we have heard, the BMW case. We've heard about other things. It must have happened that way. I'm not very sure what exactly happened, but he crashed in Delhi and died. And then Rajiv Gandhi was forced to enter politics, and the rest is history. For Indira Gandhi, therefore, 71, peak of her popularity, peak of her abilities to take strategic decisions. She broke up Pakistan, helped create Bangladesh. She formed, she did so many strategic decisions. She took merger of Sikkim into India in 1975. She also did creation of the RNAW in 1968 under her watch. So many things to her credit, but then later part, she sort of slid down the popularity and then became dictatorial, not by instinct, but by circumstances, I would think, to be charitable. Because of, as I said, the setback in the elections, then the defeat in the elections in 1977, and then the paranoia which comes in when you're isolated from the feedback you get from different people. When only one or two people give you feedback, or when one or two people tell you what others are thinking, you're hearing
control,
complete psychological control, or the feedback mechanism is then controlled by those people. So they are telling you the things that you want to hear rather than what is actually happening. Then you become like that. And then by the time she took this decision to send the army into the Golden Temple in 1984, I think she was overwhelmed by the circumstances and bad advice. Because sending army against your own people is always bad judgment. And it went wrong, the operation, it was an impossible operation. And then she paid with her life by her bodyguards assassinated her, as we know.
And India's still paying for it 40 years later.
Yeah, in some ways, but I think we have also learned lessons. We have come out of that. वो कहते हैं ना सोना निखर के आता है आग में से आता है तब. So India is in that position now. You've come through so many insurgencies, so much of turmoil, so many unrest in so many parts of this country together. I think 80s and the 90s were terrible for India in terms of both communal riots and these insurgencies, this Khalistan problem in Punjab, terrorist problem in Punjab, financial crunch. We've come through all that. So I think this generation is lucky in that sense.
This whole thing about Manmohan Singh opening up the economy in 1993, my question was always, why didn't it happen in 73 or 63 or 53?
Because Nehru adopted what is called the commanding heights of socialism model from the Soviet Union.
And Indira Gandhi
continued it.
She had the legacy of her father to continue, but also probably pressure from the Soviet Union.
That's one. And also, that it was easy to mislead people or keep people under control by saying, we are giving Garibi Hatao. Her slogan in 1971 elections was Garibi Hatao. So, for 40 or whatever, 30 years since 47 or 25 years since 47, you had not removed poverty or not even made attempts to remove poverty. Instead, you were saying, abhi hame chance dijiye, hum garibi hatayenge. You know, that was the political game that was being played, that you keep as many people poor so that you can control them as vote banks, you get them. That was the policy at that point in time. Empty slogans.
Lack of money means lack of education.
Exactly.
Lack of education means controllable.
Empowerment, there was no empowerment. I mean, you don't take informed decisions then. Then you go like cattle, whoever tells you. That's exactly what used to happen. But again, credit to Narasimha Rao as Prime Minister. Of course, forced by circumstances to open up the economy. While most of the credit goes to Manmohan Singh in popular imagination or in popular literature, without the political backing and political support of Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, this wouldn't have happened.